Welcome to a very special, serene deep dive. As you settle in today, we want to create a space for you that feels well, like a light theme.
Right, an auditory light theme, something very spacious, very uncluttered.
Exactly. Just a measured, airy space for you to just be. And as we start, I want you to think about the mountain you usually associate with um, ultimate peace or maybe enlightenment.
That classic image of the monk in the cave, right?
Yes, exactly. We so often picture decades of just grueling meditation, retreating away from the world, and stripping away every earthly attachment through sheer relentless effort.
Like a marathon.
I mean, we really do treat spiritual liberation like this marathon that only the most elite, highly disciplined athletes can ever hope to finish.
And that creates a real sense of exclusivity, you know? You might assume that if you haven't put in thousands of hours of rigorous practice, that ultimate state of clarity is, well, it's simply out of reach, reserved only for a select few.
But today, we are stepping into the world of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and we're just setting aside that heavy expectation.
It's a breathtakingly compassionate spiritual landscape.
It really is. We're taking a calm, clear look at the Penguin Classics Deluxe edition of this ancient text. And we're specifically focusing on the introductory commentary by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, along with the profound teachings in chapters 11 and 14.
So this text invites you to just breathe deeply and release all those preconceptions. The mission of our deep dive today is to unpack a concept that I find deeply comforting. It's the core teaching of effortless liberation.
Effortless liberation. It sounds almost too good to be true, right? We're exploring how this ancient wisdom actually offers a safety net for you.
A path to ultimate realization that doesn't rely on decades of hard work.
Right. It relies on profound shifts in perception during the transitions of death, using really simple sensory triggers, like just hearing or even wearing something.
It's a beautiful inversion of that mountain climbing metaphor you mentioned.
Yeah, what if the ultimate safety net is actually built into the system, ready to catch you when you fall and requiring almost zero effort on your part?
But to really appreciate how this effortless liberation functions, it helps to first understand the mechanics of, well, what you are being liberated from.
Okay, set the stage for us.
Yeah.
What happens when the mind and body separate?
In his introductory commentary, the Dalai Lama provides a really spacious framework for this. He explains this concept called dependent origination.
Dependent origination. So how does that work in everyday terms?
It's basically the understanding that your sense of self, this you that you feel right now, is not a permanent, solid thing.
It's more of a flow, right?
Exactly like a flow. It's a dynamic, interdependent flow of mental and physical events that are just constantly interacting.
So if you think about your own physical features, your instincts, your passing emotions, they're all just clustered together in this one moment, creating the illusion of a singular, solid you.
And in the literature of highest yoga tantra, a crucial distinction is made regarding those clusters.
Wait, before we go further into that, what exactly is highest yoga tantra? The name sort of implies there are like lower levels.
Right, yeah. It is the most advanced level of meditative practice within this specific Tibetan tradition. The word highest refers to its focus on transforming the most subtle, microscopic energies of the body and mind.
Instead of just working with our everyday surface level thoughts.
Exactly. In this tradition, they differentiate between your gross body and mind, which is your physical form, the bones, the blood, and those loud conceptual thoughts you're experiencing right now.
The day-to-day noise.
Right. They differentiate that from your subtle mind and body. And that subtle layer is pure underlying energy and awareness.
And at the moment of death, all those gross levels completely dissolve, right?
Yes. The text describes it beautifully. First, the earth element dissolves, then water, fire, and wind, until only the most pristine, subtle awareness remains.
It's stripping everything down to the foundation.
And the Dalai Lama notes that highly advanced yogis spend their entire lives meditatively rehearsing this exact dissolution.
They practice dying.
Essentially, yes. They simulate the death process to intentionally access and recognize what is called the inner radiance.
I love that you brought up the yogis rehearsing, because it brings up a really important analogy. Think about being thrown onto a stage to perform an incredibly complex, high-stakes play.
Okay, I can picture that.
The advanced yogis are the actors who have spent 40 years rehearsing their lines, perfecting their blocking. They know exactly what to do when the curtain rises on the death process.
Because they've run the simulation 1,000 times.
Right. But the text explicitly acknowledges ordinary people or officials or those who simply never had the time or the discipline to practice.
The people who haven't rehearsed the play at all.
Exactly. So how can the text claim there is an effortless way out for someone who doesn't even know the script?
Well, the answer lies in the text's understanding of the mind's condition during this transition. This intermediate state is known as the bardo.
The bardic.
Yeah.
Oh.
For the ordinary person, the gross physical body and all its loud sensory distractions have fallen away. And without that heavy anchor, your mind enters a hyperlucid, incredibly malleable state.
Because the physical brain isn't filtering everything anymore.
Right. You are residing in what the text calls a mental body. The consciousness becomes exceptionally sensitive, stark, and clear.
So it's wide open.
Wide open. And because of that, a very simple, well-timed nudge can cause instant realization. The effort isn't required because the heavy lifting, the stripping away of all those physical distractions, it's already been done by the natural process of dying.
The system does the work for you.
Yeah.
So if the mind is that exposed, that sensitive, what is the first thing that reaches it? How does the text take advantage of that clear state to provide that gentle nudge?
It begins with the simplest act of listening. Chapter 11 of the text is famously titled The Great Liberation by Hearing.
By hearing alone.
Yes. The text provides a really precise, compassionate script. A lama, a spiritual friend, or even just a relative is instructed to read this text aloud, clearly and distinctly, right close to the ear of the person who is dying or has just passed.
And because you are now in that highly sensitive mental body, possessing these subtle, supernormal cognitive abilities, you are also likely terrified, right? Because it's an unfamiliar transition.
Oh, absolutely terrified. It's totally unknown territory. So the voice reading the text acts as a guiding tether in that vast, unknown space.
The text describes the first stage of this transition as the dawning of the inner radiance of the ground. The reader is literally introducing the deceased to their own mind.
Which is a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, and the instructions say to recognize your conscious awareness as a brilliant emptiness, which the text personifies as the female Buddha Samantabhadra, and at the same time a vibrant radiance personified as the male Buddha Samantabhadra.
It's this indivisible union of emptiness and luminosity.
Right, and the promise here is just staggering. It says liberation can be attained merely by hearing these words, even for someone who has committed great negative acts.
The text describes this instant recognition of reality as being like a mother and son meeting.
Wow, like a mother and son meeting.
Yeah. It is a profound, entirely natural reunion with your own fundamental nature.
Let's pause for a second, though, and clarify the mechanics of this hearing process. Because if someone is physically dead, their heart has stopped, their brain has ceased functioning, how are they processing a spoken language?
That's the logical next question.
Right. Like, are we talking about literal sound waves vibrating a physical eardrum?
The text is very specific on this point. The mental body is not a solid, corporeal body of flesh and blood. It is a product of subtle propensities. It's almost like a holographic projection of habits.
Okay, so it's not biological.
No, not at all. When the text speaks of hearing in this intermediate state, it is not referring to auditory biology. It's talking about the subtle consciousness directly perceiving the intention and the truth of the words being spoken.
The truth behind the words rather than the sound itself.
Exactly. The pure focus and the compassion of the person reading the text in the physical room that resonates with the hyperlucid awareness of the individual in the bardo.
It's acoustic resonance, but on a spiritual level.
Yes. The spoken words serve as a mirror, reflecting the mind's true nature back to itself when it might otherwise just be drifting in confusion.
So it is the direct transmission of meaning, totally bypassing the physical ear. That is deeply comforting.
It really is.
But, hearing requires a certain level of calm to process that transmission. What if the person is in absolute panic?
Which is very possible.
Right. The transition is terrifying, the words just sound like noise, and they completely miss that gentle nudge. Are they simply out of luck at that point?
No, not at all. The effortless path does not abandon them. It simply shifts strategies.
Okay. How does it shift?
Well, if the first stage of hearing is missed, the deceased enters the intermediate state of reality, and the approach moves from the auditory to the intensely visual.
So the mind starts generating images.
Yes. Your mind begins to project its own internal energies as these vivid, sweeping visions. First, the text describes the emergence of the 42 peaceful deities.
Peaceful deities, like who?
Figures like Vairocana and Amitabha, and they appear within these brilliant, dazzling luminosities, pure blue, white, yellow, red, and green lights.
And the text is still being read aloud to them during this.
Yes, the reader is still there, urging you to be devoted to these bright radiances and to avoid being drawn toward the dull, comforting lights that represent, a return to impure cyclic existence.
But what happens if the sheer awe of those peaceful deities is just too much? Like if the bright light is too intense to look at?
And the visions shift again, and quite dramatically. This is where the 58 wrathful, blood-drinking deities emerge.
Blood-drinking deities, that took a turn.
It's intense. The descriptions are highly visceral. You encounter the great, glorious Buddha Haruka manifesting directly from within your own brain.
From within your own brain. Wow. What does he look like?
He is dark brown with 3 heads, 6 arms, and 4 legs. He has 9 eyes fixed in this fearsome gaze. His fangs are bared, and his hair is golden auburn and blazing upward.
That's a lot.
And accompanying these visions are terrifying sounds, which the text describes as being like 1,000 simultaneous peals of thunder.
The shift in its description is just profoundly humbling. It sounds less like a peaceful afterlife and much more like an overwhelming nightmare.
It is the ultimate nightmare. But it is precisely here that the genius of the effortless teaching is fully revealed.
How so?
The text is read aloud to the deceased, screaming, "Do not be terrified, do not be awed." The effortless liberation in this chaotic moment hinges on one single, vital recognition.
Which is?
The text explicitly states that these terrifying deities do not substantially exist. They haven't come from anywhere else. They are nothing but the natural expressive power of your own awareness.
Oh, I see. If you've ever had a lucid dream, you know that exact moment.
Yes, the lucid dreaming comparison is perfect.
You're being chased by some horrifying monster in the dream, and the terror is totally all-consuming. But then a switch just flips in your awareness. You realize, wait, I am asleep. I am dreaming this.
And what happens to the fear?
The moment you realize that you are the one generating the monster, that the monster is literally made out of your own mind, the fear vanishes. The monster might still be visually there, but it loses all its power to harm you.
Your analogy maps perfectly onto the text's psychological insight here. Liberation in the presence of these wrathful deities requires 0 external action.
You don't have to fight the monster.
Exactly. You don't fight the Haruka, you don't run away. It is entirely about recognizing that both the beautiful, peaceful deities and the terrifying, wrathful deities are simply reflections of your own internal state.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Right. The peaceful deities represent the mind resting in its pristine state, and the wrathful deities are the mind's dynamic aspect, actively transforming delusion into clear cognition.
So to recognize them as your own mind is to achieve simultaneous liberation.
Yes, the illusion just collapses the moment it is seen for what it actually is.
The text repeats the phrase, recognition and liberation will occur simultaneously. But, that realization still requires a certain presence of mind.
It does.
What if someone passes away entirely alone? Like there is no one sitting by the bed to read the text. Or what if the fear in the bardo is just so deafening that the mind cannot process either the whispered words or the visual projections?
The compassion of this tradition goes even further, offering a final, profoundly tactile safety net.
A tactile safety net.
Yes. This is detailed in Chapter 14 of the text, which is titled Liberation by Wearing, Natural Liberation of the Psychophysical Aggregates.
Okay, let's unpack that title first. What exactly are psychophysical aggregates?
In Buddhist philosophy, the aggregates are simply the 5 components that come together to make up a human being. They are form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness.
So it's everything that constitutes me.
Right. The title is essentially saying the natural liberation of all the parts that make up you. And the method for this liberation is incredibly straightforward.
How does it work?
The text describes a mantra circle of the peaceful and wrathful deities. This includes a specific 26-line supreme essential mantra written in the Dakini script.
And a Dakini script is what exactly?
It's a symbolic language associated with Dakinis, who are essentially embodiments of enlightened female energy. It is considered a very pure visionary script.
Okay.
The instructions tell you to physically attach this printed or drawn mantra circle directly to the body of the deceased. You tie it to them or place it on them, and you just leave it there, even during cremation.
The claims made in this chapter are extraordinary, especially when you view them against rigorous meditative paths. The text states, as it confers liberation by reading, there is no need for meditation. As it confers liberation by wearing, there is no need for spiritual practice.
It's a radical statement.
It says liberation can occur simply by seeing the mantra circle touching it, or even just feeling its breath.
It explicitly calls this practice a field of experience for the fortunate. It offers ultimate accessibility.
I have to push back gently on this, purely from a practical standpoint.
Ways to.
I understand the psychology of recognizing a vision, or the transmission of meaning through hearing. But this is ink on a page. It's a physical object. How does physical ink interact with a subtle, non-physical consciousness?
It's a very fair question.
It feels a bit like a magic trick, like a universal VIP pass to enlightenment that just completely bypasses the intellect. How does placing a piece of paper on a body actually achieve liberation?
It is a vital question, and to answer it, we really have to look at the core philosophy of the Dzogchen tradition. That's the specific philosophical view this text arises from.
The Dzogchen.
Yes, it translates to great perfection. And the foundational belief of Dzogchen is that the fundamental nature of your awareness is already perfectly pure, enlightened, and whole.
So you aren't building it.
Exactly. You are not trying to build a new enlightened mind from scratch. You are simply uncovering what is already perfectly intact within you.
The enlightenment is already there, just resting beneath the surface.
Yes, and here is how the ink on the page interacts with that. Think of it like a tuning fork.
A tuning fork.
Yeah. If you strike a tuning fork in a room, any other tuning fork in that room that is calibrated to the exact same frequency will naturally start humming without ever being physically touched.
Acoustic resonance.
Acoustic resonance. In the Dzogchen view, these specific mantras, the geometry of the Dakini script, they are not arbitrary symbols. They are considered the natural, visual, and resonant expressions of ultimate reality.
So they carry a specific frequency.
They are the literal frequency of enlightenment.
So the paper is the struck tuning fork.
Precisely. When the mantra circle is placed on the body, its inherent purity acts as a physical anchor of that enlightened frequency. It resonates with the subtle mind of the deceased.
Wow.
Because the ultimate nature of your mind and the ultimate nature of the mantra are the exact same pure reality. Contact with the mantra acts as a catalyst.
It effortlessly gets your own true nature humming.
Exactly. It unlocks the recognition of the mind's own true nature through subtle resonance. It requires absolutely no active conceptual effort on the part of the individual.
The ink is just a physical manifestation of a profound underlying frequency that we already possess.
You already have the matching tuning fork inside you?
That brings such a profound clarity to the mechanics of this text. It shows how ultimate liberation isn't just reserved for those who have spent decades meditating in a cave. It is radically accessible.
Radically accessible. I love that phrasing.
Whether it is through simply hearing the truth whispered in the bardo, or recognizing that the terrifying visions of the afterlife are just your mind's own projections, or even just wearing a sacred symbol that attunes your inherent nature, the safety nets are woven into the very fabric of our existence.
And, while these texts serve as a highly specific guide for the dying, their relevance to you right now in the waking world is immense.
How so?
This text teaches the radical accessibility of peace. It reminds you of the power of shifting your perception, of recognizing that the things causing you the most profound terror are so often self-generated.
The pressure we put on ourselves, the heavy expectations of spiritual or personal achievement, what if we don't have to climb the mountain?
What if we are already at the top?
What if the peace you are looking for is already resting quietly at the core of your own awareness, just waiting for the right resonance to be recognized?
It subtly alters how you might view every struggle, every moment of fear in your daily life.
It really does. As we bring our deep dive to a close today, in this calm and uncluttered space, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder in the silence after the audio stops.
A final shift in perception.
Yes. If the most terrifying, thunderous, blood-drinking visions in the afterlife are ultimately just harmless projections of your own mind, and simply realizing this is the key to effortless liberation, what does that say about the everyday anxieties, the conflicts, and the barriers you construct in your waking life?
It's a powerful question.
Are you, right now, just one simple shift in perception away from your own waking liberation?